Hello, this is the first section of marketing for Unit 2, and it's very similar to Unit 1 because we're going to go over the 4 Ps, but we go over it in a lot more detail, and again, it's related to larger businesses. So one of the things about larger businesses is that they have more products, usually, and they have bigger marketing budgets, so they can do the more expensive methods of promotion, and we'll have a look at that when we come on to promotion. But first of all, we're going to have a look at product. Now, there are some similarities between this and Unit 1 because we look at product portfolios or product ranges, and we did have a little bit of a look at that in Unit 1 as well. But we're also going to look at something called the product life cycle. And this has a few different stages. We can see here we've got these 5 stages. I'm going to look at what's happening with the business at each one of those stages, and the strategies that businesses can use to extend the life of their products. So a product portfolio is just the range of products that a business makes or sells, so make sure you know that. You might see art students carrying around what they call a portfolio. It just means a collection, folio just being pages, a collection of pages usually, but in this sense it's a collection of products. So one of the reasons why businesses might have a product range rather than relying on one product is that it can appeal to more customers. So you can make your products to meet a certain target market, but that's going to limit the amount of customers that you appeal to. So if you make lots of different products to appeal to different customers, that's going to increase your sales and revenue. You can also offer products that support the original product as well, so add-on features, extra accessories. I'm thinking about well, I was actually thinking about my Hoover, my Dyson Hoover, which I've just checked in Argos. Actually, you can get a pet accessory for your Hoover that is to take away pet hair. So I'm mulling that one over. I'm thinking about purchasing that possibly, but that supports my original purchasing decision to get my Dyson Hoover. And you can also reduce risk by diversifying as well, because if one product goes out of fashion, it doesn't mean you're all of your revenues reliant on that one product. You've got other products that bring in revenue as well. So it's all about not putting your eggs in one basket. So here we have Cadbury's, and milk tray is really interesting because it used to be very, very popular, especially as a gift, and now it's less popular. And what's not shown on here are Cadbury's Heroes as well, because I think those have become a lot more popular in the last few years, and maybe as an alternative to milk tray possibly. Here we have Land Rover and different models appealing to different people. Here we have the old, I think it was called the Defender model. These aren't made actually because they were against EU regulations, I think. The weight or something about them just didn't fit modern standards these days. But the type of person that would buy this model of Land Rover may be someone who's a farmer, maybe someone who needs to go up to quite rough terrain. Would be quite different, I think, to the person that's going to buy this type of model here, which is a bit more expensive, a bit flashier, maybe more luxurious. So these cars, although they look similar and they do similar things, they actually appeal to different markets. Kellogg's, we have a few of their brands here. Some of these are actually American brands, so we don't get all of them over in the UK. But the type of person that has Special K probably is a different type of person than the person that has the Cocoa Pops. So again, appealing to a greater range of customers. And L'Oreal here, this is a good example of products that support other products. You know, you've got your shampoo, your conditioner, usually purchase them together. So we might have things that support the original products out there, just like my Dyson, my possible Dyson accessory that I'm thinking of purchasing. I don't know though, I'm just thinking about it at the moment. So here's a little task that I did in class, but I'll quickly run over it with you as we're on video. So there are problems with having a large product range. You might just think, oh, this is this is brilliant because more products appeal to more people, you know, more revenue, more profit, done. But actually, more managers might have to be employed to make decisions about these products if they're all very different products as well. So you've got extra costs there. That's going to be extra cost. You've got communication as well, that they're going to need to work together and have coordinated decisions. If there's a product that doesn't work very well, you might have bad publicity from that product, and that harms the whole company's brands. So, you know, in the case of, I'm not saying L'Oreal do have bad products, but in the case of L'Oreal, if they bring out a new shampoo and it doesn't work very well, you might think, oh, I'm not going to buy any of the other L'Oreal products either, because, you know, in my mind, that's not such a good brand anymore. So it might cause a loss in sales for the other products as well. And launching products is really expensive because you've got to make people aware of the product, and we know that promotion is an expensive thing to do. So making them aware, TV campaigns, maybe doing pricing strategies such as penetration pricing when you start off with a very low price, so you're foregoing some of that revenue that you would normally make. Okay, so this is the second section. This is the product life cycle, and this is the usual trend in sales from when a product is launched to when it is taken off the market. What's really important is, and this diagram's a little bit blurry, I apologize for that, but what's really important is that you've got time along the bottom and you've got sales volume up this axis here. Now, here's something I noticed in the book that you might not have noticed. In the book, it talks about these 4 stages. You've got launch, sales start to grow as consumers get to know the product. You've got growth. So this is when sales start to grow a lot quicker. Oops, that's a really squiggly line. Sorry, I was meant to have a straight line there. I'm going to stop drawing the lines because they're not so great. You've got the maturity, or sometimes called saturation. This is when sales start to slow down. Maybe other competitors are entering the market, so you're not getting the same level of growth in sales as you did in the growth stage. And then you've got the decline as maybe fashions change, consumers are moving on to other products. Okay, so it starts to tail downwards there. Now, these are the 4 stages mentioned in the textbook, but actually, if you look at the specification, it does mention this stage as well. So this is development. This is when the company, the business, are testing the product, and they're coming up with the idea of what the product will be, and they're putting it through maybe focus groups at that point, doing the market research, but also the research and development of the product itself. So making sure it's safe, making sure that it's as good as it can be as well. And here you see that you have no sales because it's not on the market at that point. So it's very important that you have no sales if you're going to draw this out, that you have no sales at this point. But just something to watch out for, that you do know what this stage is, because it's actually not mentioned in your textbook, which is a shame because it is in the specification. So just a little bit more about that. During introduction and the growth stage, you're going to be spending a lot on promotional techniques. You're going to be using things like maybe penetration pricing if it's a product that people haven't heard about before and they need to have something that entices them in, you know, such as a lower price. You're going to have less advertising at this part because people already know about the product, so you don't need to necessarily inform them about it and have these kind of pricing deals at that point. But you might need to introduce more like competitive pricing deals at this point, because in the stage of maturity you're going to have a lot more competitors coming onto the market. So it's important that you think about, and I know this is the first presentation of the marketing 4 Ps, but it's important when we look at the other Ps, the price, the place, the promotion, that you're thinking actually these pricing strategies and these promotion strategies and maybe the place is going to change as you get further through the product life cycle. Okay, now it's a bit of a shame, isn't it, when you go into decline, but fear not, because you can actually use something called an extension strategy. So this is steps taken to extend the life cycle of the product, and it was unlikely that you'd have to draw this out in your exam, but it would look like this, like an extra little bit. Here are 2 little extension strategies going there, so they look like extra little curves added onto the end of it. So you could one way of extending your product is you could update the design. So Apple, we've got the iPhone, we've had the iPhone for a number of years, but we've had lots of different versions of the iPhone and different, they can do different things, and it looks different, and I don't know in depth what the differences are, but maybe faster processing speeds and things like that. So that's one way that you can extend the life of a product if you wanted to. So here we have a question that I ask my students: what department are in charge of updating or designing the products? This is Research and Development Department, also known as R&D, just an abbreviation there of the words Research and Development. So those are the ones that are coming up with these new products. Another extension strategy might be new advertising campaigns. So Galaxy chocolate, very tasty, sweet chocolate. They come up with new TV ads every few years, even though the product itself hasn't changed. So they used to have this girl who said, oh, who's taken my chocolate this time? And she's looking around the house and she's got a secret hiding place for a chocolate. And then they had an Audrey Hepburn advert as well. I think it was a take on Roman holiday. And she's got a bar of Galaxy chocolate, but they update their adverts every few years, even though the product hasn't changed. So it could be changing the promotion of the product. So remember, when we're promoting new products, that's a cost. Advertising is a cost. You've got to film these adverts, you've got to buy slots for them on TV if it's at a very popular time of the day on a very popular channel, during a Britain's Got Talent final or a major sporting event. You're going to be spending a lot of money on advertising, and that's going to be increasing your costs, and that's going to be affecting your finance departments. Another extension strategy may be to target new markets, so foreign markets maybe, that links in with location and globalization and multinationals. So Starbucks setting up in China, I think I've shown you this picture before. So, they had a lot of the American market, but the world itself is a bigger market than just America. So they've started to set up shops abroad, and we have them in the UK and all over Europe, and we can see there that's Starbucks in Beijing. But we know from our last presentation that there are problems selling abroad. So, the coordination, the communication, different cultures as well can be an issue. So what's very important here, these are the specification objectives, and it looks like a lot, but it's actually not that much. So we know that demand for a product or a service is going to change over time from these 5 stages. Just remember that development is there, although it's not in your textbook, and businesses can use a variety of methods to change their product and stop it declining. But think about, my best tip would be to think about the 4 Ps for this one. So how could they change the pricing? How could they change the product? Could they sell it in a different place? Could they change the promotion of the product? If you think about the 4 Ps when you're thinking about extension strategies, you'll have lots of ideas about what businesses could do to extend the life of the product.